Marketer of the Day, episode 674. Strengthen your skills and disrupt your industry with Jeet Banerjee.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We are joined by return guest, Mr. Jeet Banerjee. And if you like what you hear today and you want to go back and listen to his other appearance, that is at marketeroftheday.com/568. But Mr. Jeet Banerjee is a serial entrepreneur. He's a digital marketing expert and he's a TEDx speaker. And Jeet has launched over 15 plus online businesses. He sold 2 companies for a profit and generated over 8 figures in revenue with online sales. Sounds like a complete and total machine to me. So Jeet, how are things today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks so much, first and foremost, for having me. But yeah, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Can't complain. Just came back from a long walk to kind of reset the mind, and I'm kind of sweaty but feeling good. And I mean, you are just such an action taker, such a productivity powerhouse. So I mean, just jumping right in and getting caught up from how things were last time. Why 15 businesses? Why so freaking many?
Honestly, it just has to do with, I think a lot of entrepreneurs suffer from this, but I think I suffer from it as well. And I kind of have this ADD brain going on where, whenever I see opportunity, I just kind of take it by the horns and I kind of just jump in. So yeah, a lot of people say, 15 businesses over the last 9 years is pretty crazy. But for me, it's been a fun ride. It's also been a part of, transitioning, really trying to figure out what you like and don't like. Being able to go through different industries, I started figuring out quickly the things that I absolutely love doing, the things that I was very strong at, and then also on the same token, the things that I were weak at or the things that I wasn't so passionate about. And I think for any entrepreneur, honestly, it's a great journey to go through. Like I think it's one of the best things you can do is just trying and doing a bunch of different things and really figuring out, what is it that you want to lock in and do for the rest of your life. And I think being able to go through that journey, I've been able to figure that out.
Super cool. Yeah. And I mean, I'm on the same page as you. I think it's like, why fight it, right? If you have that entrepreneurial brain, if you naturally have that degree of ADD, as they call it, then why fight it? Why try to be something you're not? And I imagine that with you creating all these businesses and keeping them going, it's not like you're doing all of it, right? You set things up, you hire people, you have your team, you have your system, and then you're just the guy that kind of has the ideas, pushes the buttons. Is that on the right track?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to really think of myself as more of like the visionary. So I really come up with the idea and then I really put together like a blueprint or a plan to execute on that idea. But I have a great team of executors around me that really take all the things that I want to do and help me achieve those things at a very high level. And for me, I'm just really focused on my strengths. And, honestly, my strengths are, really being able to conceive ideas, break through into markets. And then my marketing and digital marketing side are my skills or my expertise, so to speak. So that's what I really focus on. And everything else is really just delegated out to other people. And that's what's made it, very possible for me to have all these different businesses and go into all these opportunities over the years.
Yeah. And like you were saying, instead of being in learning mode, instead of doing the research and wondering what could have been, you went for it. You actually took the action, built the business. And then that way, when you're in it, you can feel if it's a good fit for you, if it's something you want to keep going or enlarge or abandon. And so as far as like the last 6 or 12 months, what have you been working on? Like any cool ideas or any cool businesses you've been building lately?
Yeah, absolutely. So really the two biggest industries I've been really involved with the last 6 to 12 months has been e-commerce. So really, building e-commerce brands that can be long-term sustainable brands that hopefully one day can become, household names. That's really been one of my biggest passions that I've been working on. And then the second has been kind of like my impact project, I like to call it, which is helping, people that are disgruntled 9-to-5ers, college students that don't really know what they want in life, and really showing them how they can, achieve similar success as to me and so many others by starting their own online business. So I've kind of got this full-on digital academy where it teaches them how to start various online businesses and all that good stuff.
Awesome. So you're saying you have like the consistent thing, the thing that you're going to grow, which is the e-commerce side of things, and then the attention getter, your cause that you're using to draw people in. And so when we're talking about e-commerce, are you in a specific platform, a specific niche? So what kind of e-commerce things are you building?
Yeah, absolutely. So all my stores are really built on Shopify. I do have also one brand that's like an Amazon FBA brand, but that's kind of been something I kind of like streamlined and put on passive mode for the last few years. But majority of them are being built on Shopify. And then in terms of niches, I'm really exploring different niches. So, I've got like general type of store, getting into men's fashion, accessories, watches, all that good stuff. So I'm kind of like testing the waters with a lot of different things and really just trying to hone in and figure out where I can build an established brand in.
Awesome. So it seems like the way that you're describing that you're kind of experimenting, right? You're making a lot of things and then seeing what sticks, what you enjoy, what people are going for, what's the hot seller, so that way you like have some data to go on.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say I'm probably like a step above the experimenting stage. I'm in the stage where I'm trying to test like market viability, like how big are these markets and how much of these markets can I conquer and take a market share of? Because, anytime you're talking about creating like a household name, you're talking, hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. So a lot of the e-commerce brands that I've created and tested are 7 or 8 figure brands just in the last 12 months. But I'm really looking to see, okay, how can I take that into the 9-figure stage? So that's kind of where I'm experimenting, is how many product lines can I expand to? How big is my audience demographics? How can we, be better than our competitors that are already in the space, that are the name brands, and a lot of that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of between that experimentation and like super scaling stage.
Okay, so I mean, the way that you're answering that seems like there's like the decision to make between like how wide to go and how deep to go, right? It's like wide is like, do I set up more stores or list more products? And then deep is like, well, do I send more traffic, or do I look at my competitors closely or see, are they sending, Facebook, YouTube, Google, Amazon traffic? It seems to me like that's kind of what you're saying, right? Like what to drill down on.
Exactly. Yep.
Awesome. And so, well, I mean, with all these huge goals and all these things happen and all these people to manage, how are you like organizing your weeks lately? Like, how do you wake up one morning and say, well, I'm going to do this and this, and make sure you stick to it and have fun in the process?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the biggest thing, that worked well for me, because I wasn't this type of person before, is just becoming a creature of habit. So really focusing on creating consistent and habitual schedules. So pretty much an average day, Monday through Friday for me looks like, I'll wake up. My first goal of each day is, I got to get my entire team on the same page for the day. So that's the first thing, because if my team's not on the same page, then everything else that day is just going to be unproductive. So I get my entire team together, a lot of employee meetings, team meetings, things of that nature. And then after I do that, I kind of get myself in order and I kind of put a task list together for myself. And after I've accomplished those two things, I'll hit the gym, grab some food after, come back. And then after that, I'm, pretty energized, pretty awake at that point. And from there, I'm just, knocking out all the things on my task list. And then I usually like to keep my evenings and nights for growth and learning. So, whether it's reading a book, watching a new YouTube video, listening to a new podcast, whatever it might be. So that's kind of how I structure out my days right now.
Awesome. And I like how you have that time open for learning. And I mean, as you know, that's so huge. And it's really easy to almost be your own employee, right? Where I have all these meetings scheduled and I have all these tasks scheduled. And that's really awesome that you have that almost downtime scheduled to think about those next steps and to learn some new stuff. So, I mean, along those lines, as far as like that learning time you've been spending, has there been anything interesting lately as far as the things you've been learning, or anything that just comes to mind when you think about this new information that's been, finding its way into your brain?
Yeah, absolutely. So this concept is definitely not new, but I think it's something that every entrepreneur in the world needs to really study, and it's psychology. I've really been getting very, very deep into like the concept of psychology and really learning everything about it, honestly. And I've just absolutely fallen in love with it probably like the last 3 to 4 months. And I think it's so, so powerful, because as anyone that's an entrepreneur, whether you're selling B2B, B2C, wherever it is, you're at the end of the day, you're selling something to somebody. And if you can master the psychology behind it and understand what they want, how they operate, what they're thinking, then you can essentially create, unbelievable, whether it's sales proposals, marketing campaigns, branding, awareness campaigns, anything you want. You can literally create some of the best stuff in the world. And just being able to dig into that has been amazing for me.
I agree completely. Like it's easy to get too caught up in the stuff, right? Got too caught up in like the details or the product or the offer or the solution I have. But when when you remember to keep that emotion involved and keep their wants and needs and desires and frustrations part of it, I mean, you're so right. It's huge. And then if you can get that dialed in just right, you can almost like it's like you're reading a page out of their diary, right? Without them even knowing. So, I mean, does anything come to mind as far as have you implemented that in like a fun way in some of these businesses lately? The psychology aspect?
Yeah, absolutely. So for my e-commerce brands, pretty much like, 50 to 60% of everything that we do, when it's like writing ad copy, writing product descriptions, creating, marketing videos, marketing photos, et cetera, is all, utilizing some of the skills and strategies that I've learned from psychology. And I really came across that whole psychology concept because I really started studying the top brands in the world, the household $1 billion plus brands. And I started seeing that all of these brands were using the same type of language, the same types of, color schemes when it came to their branding, marketing, certain trigger words, etc. And right off the bat, I was like, man, I think I'm onto something here. There's got to be some kind of correlation that, these big brands know that the average person doesn't know. And so we started testing a lot of those things, started digging deeper, really researching, understanding consumer behavior from like psychological triggers, emotional triggers, all that stuff. And the results have been amazing, like it's been absolutely phenomenal in everything we do.
Fun stuff, yes. And it's like the work's already been done for you, right? Like there's all these ads out there, there's all these books and training that you can read. So why reinvent the wheel too much when you can just see what's been working and piggyback on that a little bit? And so, it's really easy to say, I'm this really successful guy and I have this team and I learn all this stuff. But, we all have struggles, right? We all stumble sometimes or we have problems. So in the last year since we've been speaking, have you like failed in any big way, or have you like come across like a real tough roadblock and you kind of got stuck for a while and had to overcome it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think just speaking on the delegation type of thing, I think the two biggest struggles I've had the last 12 months is being able to retain the really good talent, because, you teach people some certain skills, you get people to a certain level, etc. And automatically, other companies start taking notice of whether it's my work, who's creating this stuff, and boom, people are constantly being poached. So retaining good talent has definitely been a big struggle. And the way I've really been able to overcome that is just by really giving them some skin in the game, where I'm incentivizing them to stay in the company long term, whether it's through, equity, performance bonuses, really new goals. Sometimes it can be something as simple as like, just creating like trophies for the end of the year, like, the best at XYZ will get this trophy. And now you've got, a $5 prize that everyone wants to fight over. And it's like become this competitive thing and this fun environment that you don't have that culture in other places. So retaining talent has been very tough. And then the second toughest thing, and I think every entrepreneur really suffers from this, and I don't think I've fully overcame this, still a work in progress, is just micromanaging. A lot of times you want to look at everything before it's pushed out, made live, taken to the next person in the funnel. And so I've always struggled with that, is where I'm always micromanaging, but I've kind of really learned to, hire project managers in place that can be my micromanagers, so I can tell them how to micromanage and they micromanage for me. And that's really freed up a lot of my schedule to put me in a place where, I can have that downtime in an evening to read a book or learn something new. So I'd say those have been the biggest two struggles.
That's awesome. And that's pretty powerful to like, and as far as like letting go of the control freakiness, where you say, well, I'll have the project manager handle the moving pieces and then just do with them. And I mean, I imagine it's, at least, I don't know if you feel this way, but for me, like I've been getting more into the outsourcing, delegating, and not on your scale, but it makes you feel better, right? It's like, it's easier to rewind and relax knowing that at this very second, someone else is cranking away doing something, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I've always felt it to be like a bittersweet feeling, where like kind of in the back of the head, I've got this like, oh man, is it going to get done right? Like kind of this like worrying sensation. I feel like it's probably similar to like when a parent lets their kid go out somewhere, they're constantly like worried, are they going to be okay? Da, 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 da. But at the same time, they're like, man, I have all this free time. Like, I can go party type of thing. So it's kind of like the same feeling for me as an entrepreneur, which is like, man, are they going to get everything done? Da, 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 da. But then I'm like, man, I have all this free time. Like finally, so that's how I've always looked at it.
Yeah, that's a good trade-off, right? It's like it's never going to be perfect, but then to trade all that worry for, or like to get a little bit of worry for a bunch of extra free time, knowing that tomorrow or the next day you can go back and check on things, and even if they messed up that Shopify listing, it's not the end of the world. I mean, yeah, it seems like just something to grow into, right? And it seems like one of those like awkward entrepreneurial things where it's weird at first, and there's a little bit of growing pains, a little bit of difficulty, but if we can like know that that's the right direction to go in and figure it out, then I mean, it seems like the rewards are just huge with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always looked at it as like kind of like a short-term struggle with, but long-term, it's like a massive winning proposition. So it's a win-win, honestly, at the end of the day.
Super cool. So as far as the future, as far as like what you're building towards and like where this is all going, do you have any plans to speak of? Like, are you going to get rid of some of these businesses or add more or grow the ones you have, or kind of what's on the horizon for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, my future plans are really, I just want to probably like make as many of these businesses automated or passive. And then if any of them are taking, too much time or too hands-on, where I've got to be directly involved, probably turning them off or shutting them down. Because my main focus right now is on really two things: is to, build one of the, biggest like alternatives to college and basically an alternative to education, essentially, where it's like, showing people the avenues that are possible with online education and how they can learn to start a business and, achieve things on their own terms. And then the second thing for me is, just figuring out which e-commerce brand I want to go all in on and, try to make it a multi-billion-dollar company.
Awesome. And then, so as far as you mentioning there about like that alternative to college and like the traditional schooling, I mean, I think you hear that a lot, right? You hear that, well, the educational system as it is hasn't changed in 150 years, right? It's meant for factory workers. When the bell goes off, it's supposed to mirror like when the whistle would blow to go, everyone file into the coal mine or the factory. And there's that thing, that common like just belief that it is outdated, but people need to have that kind of foundational evergreen schooling. But then as soon as you get out of school and get into the real world, things are completely different. And there's definitely that need to stay curious and stay in learning mode and to jump on that Udemy course or that YouTube course or get certified, just because, I mean, there's so many new skills or so many new things to figure out. And so, how are you different, or like, can you unpack your cause there a little bit about this kind of college alternative?
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like, when people really go to college, they're kind of, they're kind of put in a pressure situation where they have to select a major, and they're not even sure if that's what they want to do for the rest of their life. And can't blame them, right? Because they've never tried it. So how are they really going to know? It's just from a distance, they're like, oh man, this looks cool. And so from there, they're told every day what to study, how to study, what to take a test on, what to read, etc. So it's like everything is kind of predetermined for them, right? And so the biggest thing that I've kind of, wanted to disrupt is like giving people the freedom to learn what they actually want to learn. Because I believe at the end of the day, if you give people the ability to learn what they want to learn, they will not only be able to implement it, but they will actually be so passionate about it that, we will end up seeing, some of the most brilliant, inventions, products, whatever it is in the world. And so right now I'm kind of doing it on a very small level where it's like, okay, I just want to show people that, if you're not happy with college and you're not happy with a 9-to-5 job, there is a different route. Here's, 8 different business models that I've started over the years and had very good success with. I'm going to give you guys the blueprint, but here's the transparency. I don't want you guys to just take this blueprint and copy it and expect, massive results. Like if you guys copy it exactly, yeah, sure, you'll get results, but I want people to innovate on top of that, right? Like figure out, okay, this is the baseline for what's worked. Now, how can I be better than this? And, that's kind of the approach I took when I build my e-commerce brands. Is I'm not out there just copying other people, because if I copy other people, I'm always going to be second place. I'm taking what's already worked, what's already great in the market, and I'm asking myself, how can I be better than them? How can I innovate on top of what's been done? And that's when, that's how I've been able to grow so many, like, a lot of people ask, how do you grow a 7 or 8 figure brand in 12 months? That's how you do it. You take something that the market is already educated about, you innovate upon it, and you implement. And that's when massive things happen. So that's kind of my vision when it comes to education. And I think long-term, I really want to get even younger than 20 plus, like, cause I'm in the 20 something range right now. I want to get into the range where, 13 to 15 years old, really giving these students the ability to pick their own curriculum and their own path, rather than having someone from, like a Department of Education telling them what they have to learn from a 30-year-old textbook. Like, just never made sense to me.
Right. Yeah. And I think it doesn't make sense for a lot of people. And I'm completely with you in that if we're excited about these things that we're doing, then we'll go further and we'll get past those roadblocks. And it makes perfect sense to go with that proven blueprint as the starter, as the template, but then also keep in mind to have fun and play around and innovate and kind of make it your own and do something different. That way you're not just like everybody else. That way you're not just a carbon copy. So, I mean, this is all great stuff. And so where can people find out more about you and about some of these programs that we're talking about here?
Yeah, absolutely. So really the best way to get in touch with me, stay connected with me, and see everything that's going on in my life is my Instagram page. And that's at the Jeet Banerjee. And other than that, if people want to learn more about my programs and how to start an online business of their own, they can check out our academy, which is located at theincomeincubator.com. And they can find out all that information over there.
Super great. So just to recap, that is theincomeincubator.com. And then make sure to hop on Instagram and add Jeet at the Banerjee. So that way you can stay up to date with at what now?
So the Instagram is at the Jeet Banerjee. So just
sorry.
In the beginning. No, you're all good.
All right. At the Jeet Banerjee. Did I get it right?
Yep, you got it. You nailed it.
All right, cool. It always feels good. And we'll have a direct link in there. And it's always good to not only check out someone's website, but also add them on social media. That way, if you're not exactly 100% ready to pull the trigger on the Income Incubator right now, then at least you'll be on each other's radar. So that way, when the time is right, when you finally have that free weekend, or you're sick of that 9-to-5 job, or you say, college isn't working out, let me try something else, then you'll be ready to go to theincomeincubator.com. And it's always good to have those inspirational figures around you in your life, right? Why have your social media friends just be people you knew from high school or college or something? Why not surround yourself with the people that you want to be like, with the people that have built the businesses and have the teams and have the lifestyle that you're looking for? So go to Instagram at the Jeet Banerjee and theincomeincubator.com. Anything to add here, Jeet, as we're winding down, wrapping up here?
No, I think you nailed it right on the head. And I mean, just to add on your point, I guess, Instagram is like, one of my favorite platforms because you literally get to be almost an insider on someone's life. You get to see what they're doing, how they operate, how they think, what they say, what they do. And the amount of inspiration and motivation you can get for Instagram from free is just absolutely phenomenal. Like even myself, even though, I'm doing all these things, there are times when I need to be inspired, motivated, and just to, engage with somebody else. And I get that for free from Instagram. And the value of that is tremendous. And I know a lot of people use it for like more entertainment or comical value, but when you start looking at it from a inspirational and motivational value standpoint, the ROI is absolutely huge because it's cost you absolutely nothing to get that value from a complete social media platform.
And that's good advice in general. Just if you find that you're wasting too much time with the entertainment, why not add a little bit of the educational value, whether that's add inspirational people on Instagram, or even circling back to how you have that educational time. If people find that they're always dialing up the same stuff on Netflix or Hulu, why not dial up YouTube, or why not dial up a course, or why not grab that Kindle book? That way you can add a little bit of education to your life, and that adds up. If you just allocate a little bit of learning or a little bit of inspiration a day, then imagine what kind of business that will build in the years to come. So theincomeincubator.com and at the Jeet Banerjee on Instagram. And thanks so much, Jeet, for stopping by and checking in and keeping us up to date with all these businesses that you're building. You're at 15 now. Maybe by the next time we talk, you'll be at like 30 or 40, right?
Hopefully not. I don't know if I can handle that many, but no, I absolutely appreciate you guys for having me back, and always a pleasure.
Super cool. Thank you. Subscribe to us right now while it's still fresh on your mind at marketeroftheday.com/iTunes.